All right, we got some interesting information here. So Polling Canada just dropped the poll from Abacus Data. I know it's way too early. The reason I'm posting this, though, is because we're not even a month after the election, and the Liberal number is already starting to drop. Now, these polls don't do percentage points, and I know the Liberals only got 43 points, but it was 43 point something, so they rounded up to 44. And the Conservatives, they had at 41, which means the Conservatives have dropped basically 1 point from the past election. The Bloc is up 1 point, so that's likely where it's coming from. But you look at the Liberals, they were at 44, they're down to 43. It hasn't even been a month yet. The NDP, last time we did a poll, they were at 8%, so they've stayed the same. But look at the Greens, they're up 2 points. And you know Green voters are either going to vote Green or Liberal, right? NDP voters are going to vote NDP or Liberal, and the Liberals are dropping already. Maybe it's because of the cabinet picks or the lack of a budget or the fact that the retaliatory tariffs have been dropped over a month ago. But I'll be honest with you, I don't even think a lot of Liberals realize that, because the mainstream media isn't saying anything about it. I don't think a lot of people actually realize it, which is hilarious. And that just goes to show you how good of a con man Mark Carney really is. But it's very interesting because, and again, this was done on May 21st. So, again, it's May 25th. This is like 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks after the last election. They're already dropping. Obviously, we're not going to be having an election tomorrow or anything like that. However, this summer, considering there's going to be a massive extended vacation, even though there's so much work to be done, as Mark Carney said, but then also goes on a massive vacation. They're returning to work tomorrow for 3 weeks, and then they're off for at least 2 months, maybe even longer. It's crazy. Actually, I think it is. I think they're coming back in either September or October, so they're going to be gone for most of June, or at least about half of June, all of July, all of August, and then at least some of September. It's unbelievable, right? This is the most consequential election in our lifetime. Then why are you going on an extra vacation? Government has been shut down, prorogued since October. So you're telling me in a calendar year, we're going to have about 3 weeks of the 348 members sitting in Parliament? Really? You're right, Mark. It was consequential. And Canada failed because they elected you. And now you're going to show them what you're doing by not working. At a time where we need our politicians to serve us the most. So this isn't a good sign. It's not a good start for the Liberals. It's showing in the polls. It's showing in people's opinions. I think you're starting to see buyer's remorse already. And as the summer goes on and things get even worse, I think that the buyer's remorse is going to get even worse. You could see it like in a matter of a few weeks, the Conservatives pull ahead. Now, in terms of another election, does it matter if the Conservatives pull ahead? No, the NDP has to start gaining more traction. That's really the end of story. They want their seats back. The Bloc wants some of their seats back. The Bloc has official party status. The NDP does not. And they want it back. And if it were me, if I were the leader of the NDP party, which I will never be, I would be working my ass off this summer. And I would be getting every potential. I would be looking at each riding. Hey, where did we fail? Where are we close? Can we come back in this riding? Have we lost this riding? But let's make sure that we can get up to that 15, 20% in terms of voting population, in terms of the polling numbers. Right now they're at 8, so they got a long way to go. But if they can double this number, which I think they can in the next few months, maybe a little bit longer. It's hard to say how long it'll take. They don't have any money. That's the problem. However, it doesn't cost much money to have these MPs or potential MPs get in their cars, drive to these neighborhoods, these ridings, and go knock on doors already. It doesn't cost money to do that, other than gas money. Okay, so just, that's what I would do, and then you'll see the numbers start rising for the NDP. Now, there's going to be a budget table this fall, apparently, which might even get delayed until December. The NDP will likely vote with it, and so will the Bloc. And the reason that they're going to is because if they don't, a vote against the budget is essentially a non-confidence vote. Okay, so if it doesn't pass, and the NDP and the Bloc and the Conservatives and the Greens vote against it, we're going back to an election. That's likely not going to happen by December or January. I don't see that happening. I don't see the NDP having enough money. They might have enough, like they might be in there in terms of support, but they're going to want to wait a little bit longer so that they can raise some money. And the next leader, whoever that is, whether it's Wab Kinew or Jenny Kwan or whoever it is, they better get on some sort of a plan to get some fundraising because they need more money. They can't be the party of broke people. Like, that's not going to work. So they're going to have to do something to do that. And if they get a competent leader, maybe they can get on that and maybe they can progress faster than I think. And then who knows? There are people who are predicting we're going back to an election in 2026. I don't know about that. I hope they're right. But I don't see it happening that quickly. I can see late 2027 or maybe early 2027 at the earliest. But hey, I've been wrong before. I'm going to be wrong again. So who knows? Now, another thing I wanted to show you was, and I can't remember if I showed you this before, but this is from Billboard Chris, kind of controversial guy. He says, my oldest daughter's high school voted for a conservative majority in their mock election. My daughter's class in grade 7, obviously very small sample size, had 18 votes Conservatives, 5 Liberal, 2 Green, 0 NDP. All across Canada, though, nearly 1 million students voted, and if it were up to them, we would have a Conservative government. This is positive for years to come. Boomers won this election for Carney. The next generation won't make that mistake. And that's the thing, right? Who's the biggest Liberal supporters? It's the oldest generation. The younger generations coming up, like Generation Alpha, they aren't voting Liberal. And considering that students, generally speaking, are very liberal, they're likely to get more conservative as they grow up, especially the COVID kids, especially when they get out of high school and realize that rent is insane and they can't afford it and they're never going to have a house, and that society is broken and that crime's gone rampant. They're likely to get more conservative when they start have to pay bills and taxes, right? So they're already at 36% here. The Liberals are at 31%. The Bloc's at 2%, of course. And the NDP is at 14%. Now, with this number, the seat... Did they say the seat count? No, I don't think so. But either way... the seat count is 162 for Conservative, 149 for Liberals, 17 for the Bloc, 13 for the NDP. So this is a good sign. The more that these kids grow up, the more votes the Conservatives are going to get. So... at least, the future is looking pretty bright for change. And hopefully when Pierre gets in, we have the right change and he sticks to his word. If not, I know it might piss a lot of you off, but I will be holding him accountable if he does not do what he says. But we are far away from that. We'll talk about that when we get there. But either way, this is very interesting information. And again, I wanted to make some videos lately to kind of put some hope out there. Hopefully this gives you hope. We might have to wait 4 years, and the young generation seems to be voting more conservative, at least in a very long time. Maybe they used to be very conservative, but when I was growing up, students were very liberal. Or like Liberal NDP, it was kind of like a split there. But either way, it's good news. It's hopeful news. And hopefully that helps you... because I know a lot of people are down right now. A lot of people are just completely hopeless. So hopefully this fixes that for you, or at least helps. Either way, let me know what you think. Please don't be shy. Please also don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back shortly with a new video.